sashay, sashay, and turn, and turn. What do you think, guys? Did we nail it? Did we nail it? Okay, so the shirt, this is the shirt. Are you gonna make it? It's very simple to make, guys. You can do it. You need a tape measure, and you need to measure yourself at your widest point. Unfortunately, this is not my widest point. This is my widest point. So I measure myself here because I definitely want it to fit me. As you see, it's loose. It's probably, there's probably, shoot, 6 inches of positive ease on this, okay? So I just wanted something that was really comfortable to wear. So make sure you measure yourself, and then you just chain what you need for your measurements, and make sure you're keeping track of it. Also, please, guys, I say this when I talk about the tutorial. This is just to reiterate before we start. Please, when you need to change your yarn balls, if you need to change a yarn ball, please make sure you are changing at the end of the row. Do not change in the middle of this row, because as you see, these don't have really any place for you to weave in the ends and secure them, okay? So you definitely want to do it on your sides, and that's where you want to change your yarn, okay, guys? Just make sure you measure yourself, measure your arms at their biggest point, their widest point. Measure how you want your neckline. I go over that in the tutorial. I show you everything that you need to do to get the numbers, what you need, okay, guys? So I'll be right back, and we will get down to the tutorial. I hope you join me. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Twisted Stitches. Are you guys ready to make this top? I am so ready. Now, make sure, you know, you had to measure yourself. You need a flexible measuring tape, because this top is going to be made to fit you. You are not, there's some sizing that I can guide you with, but basically you're doing all the measurements. So you want to have a flexible measuring tape for that, of course. You're also going to want to have one of these tape measures. These are great for measuring your work because they don't stretch out, and you can lock them in place and get a good idea of how wide your chain is or how long your project is in general. I use this a lot for measuring my tops. I used a 4.5 millimeter hook. You'll need some kind of scissors and, of course, a needle to sew in all the ends at the very end. I used the yarn that we got in our Knitcrate box, the Audine Wools, the Interlock. This is 34% cotton, 35% linen, 19% lyocell, and 11% nylon. This is 351 yards in 100 grams. I bought a total of 2 extra 100-gram hanks because I knew I was going to make a top out of this yarn when I saw the yarn in my Knitcrate box. This amount of yarn, the 4 hanks, the 2 that I got with the Knitcrate box and the 2 extras that I purchased, should be plenty to make this boxy style top that is going to have capped sleeves. It's nothing, it's very simple, it's very beginner friendly. So I made a size that is approximately 2X, and these are the 2 hanks that I caked up that I have left. I already made the back piece, so I will show that to you. And I did, like I said, I made this with a 4.5 millimeter hook. Let me show you something else. When I was playing around with this stitch, I played around using a worsted weight. So here you can see you can use this same stitch using a worsted weight. You still have that same affect the dropped stitch knitting look to it, as you can see here. The stitch definition is there. You got to figure if this was shirt size, it would have a little drape to it and it would pull a little like that. Looks really cute. Looks like you have these little knit purl bumps in here, and then you have your dropped stitch. But for crochet, we don't need to drop any stitches. We are not going to drop any stitches like in the knit. This is super simple, guys. So this is what I have left of the 2 hanks of yarn that I used to make the back piece. I weighed it and it was approximately 11.5 grams. So it's plenty to sew up the edges, to sew up the shoulders, and to sew up the sides. So you'll have plenty left over. You could get more yarn if you want to add to this, if you want it longer, if you want to use it as like a beach cover-up. That would be super, super, super cute. Okay, so this is what I have. Let me show you the right side. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit the whole thing in here, but I will tell you a little bit about it. So this is the back piece, and you see using this particular yarn, very drapey. Now, some other yarns that would probably work really well is the Rockstar yarn by Ice. The True Boo by Lion Brand would work really well. Or, like I said, you could use a cotton, 100% cotton. Just remember, you're going to measure yourself and you're going to make the chain the length you need it to fit you. So there'll be no problems. No problems, guys. So this back piece measures 25 and a half to 26 inches wide, and it is approximately 26 inches long. Because it is a drapey material, I didn't go any taller because it was already hanging down. When I hold it up to my shoulders, it came down to my upper thigh area. So I didn't want to go any longer because I don't want it ending up being as long as my knees. So that's why I stopped right there. And I believe once I put the other panel on here, it's going to get even a little bit longer with the weight of the, the weight of the yarn. Let's get our yarn. Let's make our slip knot. This pattern is super beginner friendly. I have no doubt in my mind, if you are a beginner crocheter and you know the basic stitches, you will be able to make this top. Absolutely no problem. So, for my size, I chained 110 stitches. Remember, this is a very lightweight number 2 sport weight, and I was making it approximately a 2X size because I want mine to be nice and loose because I'm going to be wearing it. I'll be wearing it over a tank top or a cami or something like that. So for me, for my size, when I measured my hips, I ended up needing 110 chains. After you measured your hips or wherever you wanted it to land, you divide it in 2 to get the amount of inches you will need to chain. So for me, I needed my hips to be approximately 46 inches, and I went up a little bit more. I went to 50, and I divided it in 2, and I got 25 inches. So I needed both panels to be 25 inches in width. And for me, with this weight yarn, I needed 110 chains. So go ahead, make your chains, and I will meet you back here and we will start the pattern. So for beginner, you should know how to do a chain, yarn over, pull through. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. We're not going to get too much into this because I'm going to assume you do know how to make chains and your basic stitches, okay? So I will see you back here when you have the amount of chains that you need to make the width that you need for your back panel. So I'll see you back here in a little bit. Okay guys, I am back. I made my 110 chains. I wanted to show you. Hopefully I can get this in for you. And I just took my chain and I held it right here. And as you can see, there's my chain end. There's the chain right there. And remember, it's going to stretch too. So I actually probably have about 27 inches of chain. I probably could have made this a little bit smaller, but I would rather have it a little bit more positive ease than not. This top is like a cover-up type top, or you know, a beach cover-up or something like that. So I wanted it nice and loose. I don't want it snug and tight up against my body. This is not what I was looking for. If you want yours snug and tight up against your body, you could do two things. You can use less chains, because remember that with the weight of the yarn making the rows, it's going to stretch a little bit. Or make it with 100% cotton or 100% linen. It will not really stretch and you will have more of a form-fitting garment. Okay, so now that that part is over with, this pattern is a 2-row repeat. Very, very simple. So the first thing you're going to do is single crochet all the way down to the beginning of your chain. You skip your first stitch, enter into your very next stitch, make a single crochet. Go to your next chain, make a single crochet. Go to your next chain, make a single crochet. Next chain. And single crochet. Now I want you to single crochet all the way down to the beginning of your chain, and I will meet you back right here in just a minute. Okay, I'm back guys. So we have just a couple of stitches left. I have 2 stitches left. Let's make those real quick. Single crochet right here. And don't forget this stitch right here, right next to your slip knot. Enter into that stitch too. Oop. There we go. So I single crocheted all the way down. This will definitely be easily 25 inches. It has a little stretch. It goes a little bit further. So no problem. Now, let me get rid of this. Whoops, sorry about the noise. Now you ready for the fun part? You ready for the pattern? It's as easy as making single crochets. So now that we have our base of single crochets, there is no particular stitch count that you need. Whatever you want to stop is absolutely fine. If basically here, I can tell you, if you're going to use a yarn that's approximately this weight, approximately a sport weight, I have a couple of figures that I did for you guys that may help. If you are going to make this in maybe an extra large size, you may only need, this is approximate sizes, so you'll have to remember to measure yourself. But for an extra large, 105 chains. For a large, 95. For a medium, 85. And for a small, 75. So that's just to kind of give you, you know, what you're looking at. If you are making it in a sport weight, this number 2, or even a fingering weight, probably be about the same. If you're going to make it with a number 4 weight, Aran weight, or a DK, definitely measure your piece that it is the size that you need to fit you. Okay? Just, you know, reiterating that. We will call this the single crochet base. Now we are going to start row 1 of the pattern repeat. So I want you to chain 1, snug it up a little bit, and turn your work. I want you to pull up a little bit, probably about what would you call that? Maybe at 1/2 inch. That's probably about the size of a double crochet. Now I want you to put your finger, hold that loop, enter into your very first stitch, the same stitch that you just chained, yarn over, pull up a loop, and I want you to bring that loop up to match your first loop there. Yarn over, pull through both loops like a single crochet. Then I want you to yarn over and chain. There's your first stitch. Now go into your next stitch, enter in both chains, just like that. Pull up your loop, see that? Just like that. Yarn over, pull through the 2, yarn over, chain, just like that. Go into your next stitch, see there? Yarn over, pull up. Now as you see, if you pull over to the side a little bit, it will stop. You will stop. It will only go so far. It looks like you're pulling up higher than the rest, but don't worry, it all evens itself out. This is just because it's pulling from this stitch back here, okay? So you are pulling up the same height. If you look at it, it is the same height as your first stitch was, see? Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, chain. Go to your next stitch, enter in both loops just like regular, yarn over, pull like that. See how easy that is to pull just like that? Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, chain. Next stitch, enter in. Now if you go straight up, you're going to wrestle with it, so always kind of just pull it to the side, nice and easy, just like that. Hold your single crochet base down here, pull up a little bit, yarn over, pull through just like you did a single crochet, then chain 1. Enter into your next stitch, yarn over, pull up, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, chain. You will see that it looks like it's getting bigger, but it is not. Don't worry about it. Just continue to allow your yarn to come up until it pretty much stops. Don't jerk it real hard, just till it get a nice little, see, it doesn't want to move anymore. That's it. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, chain. Okay? We are going to do this all the way down to the end. Just like that. Pull through, pull. Chain. So enter in, pull up a loop, give it a little snug, give it a little pull up, chain. Don't worry, I promise you it will all work out when it's done, I promise. Alrighty, we'll do a couple more together. You enter in like you're going to do a single crochet. Pull up your loop, pull a little bit. See how I pulled out to the side nice and easy? Yarn over like a single crochet. Chain 1. Enter into your next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, give a little tug, pull through 2, chain 1. And remember, this is a lacy top. The drop stitch in knit is a lacy stitch. So we are making the crocheted version. We are making a version in crochet to resemble the lacy knit dropped stitch. Dropped stitch. There you go. Okay, so we're just going to keep all the way down. Just like a single crochet, pulled up, single crochet, chain 1. That chain 1 locks it. in place. If you don't chain one, it doesn't work. I tried, believe me. I played with this stitch for a while before I was able to say, yep, this works the best. So for what I wanted to do, for what I wanted to accomplish. I will meet you in the last couple of stitches, okay? So I'll see you here in just a little bit. So let's do the last 3 together, shall we? Okay, so remember, insert into the stitch, both loops on the hook, just like you normally would if you were doing a single crochet. Nothing different there. Don't, nothing weird. Yarn over, pull up your loop, bring your loop up a little bit, just like that. Don't over tug, just a nice little, get it up there. Yarn over, pull through like you did a single crochet, and then chain 1 into the stitch, both loops, yarn over, pull up a loop, little bit of a tug, not real hard, just a little bit, nice and easy. Remember, this is a lace stitch, like a single crochet, chain 1. Remember, this is just a nice lacy stitch. Now, don't forget about this little guy hanging out all the way over here. This is your very first chain, and where your everything gets real tight. So if you have to open it up a little bit, you do have one more sitting right there. See? There she is. And if you forget her, you're going to have a funky looking little piece there. So let's enter into that stitch just like that. 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull up, and a little bit of a pull up. See there? Just like that. Yarn over, single crochet, yarn over, chain 1. Now we are on to row 2 of the 2-row repeat. We just finished row 1. Now, do not chain. Do not chain at all. Turn your work. And you are going to see right here. See that? This very first little section. See this little knot right here, this last one you did? And see that little knot right there? And this little space in between these 2 knots. See that? You see that? We are going to make a single crochet right in that space. So just a normal single crochet. Stick your hook right in between those 2 knots, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now, pull apart your second one. See there? There's the knot you just left. There's your next knot. We're going to stick our hook right under there. There's actually going to be 2 loops on your hook. You're just not entering a stitch per se. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Here's your knot here. Here's a knot here. Pull them open. And it gets faster, don't worry. I'm just showing you in slow motion how to find where you need to set your stitch, okay? Now this is going to even everything out. It's going to make your stitches, your row, not all like, you know how it looked like it was getting taller and taller as you went? This second row is going to adjust that. It's going to make everything nice and even. I want to show you on this right here. This is why I brought this up. See right here, this is my starting chain, okay? So this first row did that same exact thing where it looked like, you know, this part was that big and it was getting taller and taller as I went. But once I added in the single crochets, see how everything just kind of evens itself out? See? Looks like a nice little... Now this row here, I made it a little bit bigger. I did that. I pulled up and I was like, let's make this a little bit taller. I was trying to move a little bit quicker, but then I discovered I didn't really like it. But it is absolutely fine with this shirt. I don't think you're going to notice it at all. So I tried to keep my stitch approximately, I would say, about an inch tall, which is probably about the size of a double crochet, a US double crochet. But like I said, this is a lacy stitch. When you are wearing this, it's just going to look absolutely lovely. But I wanted to show you, I just wanted to show you that it does even all out, okay? So don't fret, okay? All right, so let's get back to our second row repeat. So now I'm going to find that knot that I just left and find the next knot, and there's that little space right there. See that? Stick my hook in that space, single crochet, pull apart a little bit, see that? Enter right there, single crochet. Now after a while you just start getting a little bit quicker. I do pull them apart a little tiny bit, each one. That helps like even out your stitches. Remember, this little loopy part makes it look like, you know, the garter stitch on a knit stitch. It kind of just makes it look, I don't know, I like it. I like the way it turns out. I think it looks really cute. So what we're going to do is put a single crochet in between each one of these little knots that we made when we did the chain one after we did the single crochet. This is, not only did it help lock your stitch to the height that you wanted it to be, it also gave you a marker to where you needed to add your single crochet for your next row. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. You can find that pretty easy, I think. What do you think? Pretty easy? So stick your hook right there, single crochet. There's another spot, single crochet. I open up it right there, see? Single crochet. Open it up, single crochet. So I want you to put a single crochet in between every single knot that you have from row 1. Okay? So just keep going all the way down, and I will meet you for the last couple. I will show you where to put the last couple of stitches, okay? So I will meet you back here in just a little bit, okay? I just have a few more stitches to finish, and I said I would finish them with you. So see, I just wanted to show you how this row, it evens itself out pretty nicely. See that? When you add in your second row repeat of single crochets. Look at that. Not too bad, huh? Not too bad. Okay, so let's do these last couple together, okay? So here is my last one that I did in between these two knots. Now here's this one. I just kind of pull it apart. I've done it, this is the way I do it. I usually just kind of shove my finger in there, and then that's where I need to put my single crochet. Then I shove my finger in there, open it up a little, put my single crochet in there. Now on this particular one, see, if I didn't add a single crochet at the end here, it would look wonky and it would start going like this, I would guess. I don't know. So here, we don't really have a stitch, but we can just open it up a little bit. See that? How I open that up a little bit? Right on the edge there. And I'm going to stick my hook right in there. See that? See that? And I'm going to yarn over. And I'm going to make a single crochet right there. See that? Look at how nice that is. Evens everything out. Okay. Now we are going to do row 1 of the 2-row pattern repeat. Remember, for row 1, we chain 1 and turn. Pull up a little bit, Now that you have a starting row, you can kind of go like, this is what I like to do. I pull up a little bit, then I go like this and go, yeah, that's about the size it is. That's good. Remember, hold it with your finger. You go into the very first stitch right there. Open that up. That's your very first stitch. Holding your loop, enter into your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull up, single crochet, chain 1. Go into your very next stitch, enter in, pull up a loop, pull it up a little bit, single crochet, chain 1. And this is our 2-row repeat. Remember, on row 1, when you're going to do these little pull-ups or single crochet pull-ups to make it look like the lacy stitch like this, you will chain 1 and turn. You will always chain 1 when you're doing your first row repeat. When you are going to do your second row repeat, do not chain. Just turn your work and enter your single crochet in between the 2 knots. Okay? And just keep repeating these 2 rows over and over again until you get the length that you want your top to be. Remember, when you are measuring this, you're going to put it up to your shoulders. For mine in particular, I did 56 rows. Counting these rows like this: 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. Remember, this is a 2-row repeat. So I had 56 rows. That gave me approximately almost 26-inch length. When I measured myself from the shoulder down to where I wanted my shirt to fall was approximately 27 inches. So I made mine about 26 inches, kind of figuring, because this is a very stretchy yarn, it has nylon in it. Once I put these 2 together, these 2 panels together and sew them together, the weight of the yarn will pull it down a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? Also, I want you to try to remember that if you are going to be working with 100% cotton or 100% linen, you are not going to have that stretch. And certain acrylic fibers, like say Super Saver, something like that, is not going to have that stretch either. It's going to stay the length. You're going to have a little bit of lengthening from the weight of the garment, but not as much as something with like the nylon in it like this has. Okay, so remember, the first row of the pattern repeat, chain 1. The second row of the pattern repeat, do not chain. Just feel free to rewind and watch it over again, and if you have any questions after that, leave a comment down below, or you can email me. When I come back, put the 2 panels together and sew her up and make some armholes, and we'll be almost done, okay? So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, guys, so you see we got to keep going back and forth. Let's do the stitch for the rows indicated that you will need. Make sure you're measuring to see what you need. We went over the measurements and everything. One other little thing, make sure you're changing your yarn at the end of one of the rows. Don't try to change it in the middle here, because you have nothing to sew, to weave the ends into. This is, you know, there's no stitching really in here, so you're going to weave in the ends. You'd have no place to really secure it. Please make sure any yarn changes are always at the side of your work. Okay, guys, I finished my other panel. How about you guys? We got both the panels done. I already did my measuring, and I'm going to explain to you how to measure for your neck opening and your sleeve opening. I'm not going to give you like a set amount of stitches to count, because this is you know, not a normal where I can say count, you know, so many double crochets or single crochets or something. You can kind of do that, but I believe for this particular one, it'll be easier to measure using a measuring tape to figure out where you're going to sew up your fabric for your shoulders and stuff like that. So, and another reason, now you know that this isn't like a tried and true stitch. This is kind of something I made up. Honestly, for my back piece here, I wasn't really paying attention and I got loose. See how that's kind of loose like that? And then on my front piece, I was a little bit tighter. See my stitches here? Like that. Now on the back piece, I remember I told you that there was 56 rows counting by twos. The back piece for mine, and I'm going to make it the back piece of mine, is looser and has taller stitches than my front piece. And that's fine. I mean, on my little sample swatch here that I did with the acrylic, this is a 4 worsted weight acrylic. I believe it's Red Heart Super Saver. It was easy for me to pull up like a certain height and pretty much stick with that height. See here, they're pretty much all about the same height. And when you're making this, try to remember that in the back of your mind a little bit, that you're going to try to want to make this as close to the same height as possible. You know, it's not really a big deal because what I did is when I got to 56 rows, when I held it all up and it didn't come down, it didn't meet at the bottom, I said, well, I just got to keep going. No big deal. So that's what I did. Basically, I just measured and made sure that the front and the back measured the same length. That's why we are going to do a little tiny bit of the maths, easy maths, guys, to figure out your neck opening. So we're going to get this all done. You're going to do all your measuring. Let's get this all done and marked off before we continue with this. How does that sound? Here's how you determine your neck opening. I'm going to get a piece of paper to try to make this super duper simple for you guys. So this is going to be a horrible drawing, but this is me essentially. Here's my shoulders, okay? I knew I wanted my neck opening to be larger because I want this to be a nice, loose, relaxed type thing. And it's a boxy top. It doesn't have a set neckline, okay? So this is just these are 2 square pieces slapped together, and your neck is made by sewing up a little bit on the shoulders, okay? So that's what we're doing. Me, I wanted mine a little bit bigger. So when I measured where I wanted it to fall, I got a measurement of 15 inches. Now, I did do the one side already because I wanted to make sure everything was working. Because, like I said, I'm making this up as I go along. So how's that sound? So I wanted to make sure this worked, and it did. So here's my neck opening right here. And I can't get it all on camera. Well, a little bit. So that's my neck opening. For me, it sits nice. It's a little bit slouchy. It shows the shoulder a little bit. Nothing serious. It doesn't fall off of me or anything. So how do I determine how many inches on each side to get my shoulder? Simple. So on my piece, I got approximately 30 inches. So I wanted my neck space to be 15 inches. So 30 minus 15 equals 15 inches. And then I need to divide that in half. So 2 goes into 15, 8 times. 8 times 2 is actually 16, but we just did 8. So what I did was took 8 inches on this side and 8 inches on that side. And then I had even shoulders, and I have approximately a 15-inch neckline. So that's how you do it. Very simple. So you take your length minus the inches that you want your neckline, and then you divide in half, and you will get the shoulder seams. Simple as that, real easy. And then what I did is I made sure they lined up real nice like this. You're going to want to do it on a table or on the floor or on a bed or something like that. I put some stitch markers in here. You could also take a scrap piece of yarn and tie it to wherever yours lands. And then I also put a couple stitch markers on the outside right here to hold it in place, or you could take a piece of yarn and tie it. So after I measured and I had that, I went and I needed to figure out how big of a sleeve I wanted. I want this to be nice and comfortable for when it's hot in the summertime, and I live in Florida, so there you go. So, sorry, I got a bunch of, holy smolies, I got some serious stuff here. Anyway, so how do you figure out your sleeves? So your sleeves are simply, you measure the largest part of your arm, take your measuring tape, go around the largest part of your arm, and divide it in half. So I took mine and I divided it in half and I added on an extra inch. So I made mine 9 inches. I made mine opening 9 inches. Say your upper arm, the largest part of your arm is 15 inches. You just divide that in half, which is 7.5 inches. You can either do 7.5 inches or you can go up a size and hit 8 inches, which would be nice. It'd be good. It'd be really good for this particular pattern. So that's how you do that. I put my pieces together. I already had stitch markers right here for my shoulder, and I made sure it was nice and smooth all the way down. And these pins were already in it. I added my stitch markers where I wanted my arm to stop. So I have a nice opening here. See? And that'll fit, well, me definitely, and probably most people too. So, and then what I decided I thought would be best, because if you look at the selvaged edge of this, it's a little flimsy, I guess you could say. You know, when you make like a double crochet, it's knotted, it's got all those little twists and stuff in it. It makes a nice kind of a firm edge. This is fine. I don't think if you decided not to do anything with it, it would probably be fine. But I put my pieces together. This is literally the wrong side. And you can tell by, see how it looks? I don't know how to describe that. You can tell, you can't see your little cute knots here. See these? This is the outside. This is what you want showing. And it's got these cute little knots and stuff. So what I decided to do to give this structure, this shirt a little more structure, is I decided to use single crochet to sew up my edges. And it looks really cute, and it has a nice little, and it's easy. That's all you do is put it together as if you're going to wear the piece. You want the outsides, you want the right side facing out, you want the wrong side facing into each other, just like if you were going to put it on your body. And after I measured I started up here, and you start here at your shoulder seam, and you start from the inside portion of your neck and work your way out to the outside, because I want to be able to tuck my tails in all this single crochet right in here. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, guys. So you work from the inside of the neck to the outside sleeve, and you're going to work in single crochet all the way down. And then I did the same here. After I did my markings, I started at where like the armpit of the sleeve would be, and I worked my way all the way down, holding it nice and tight. I kept my stitch markers in at the end here. I had stitch markers down here too, and that just kind of kept it together for me. And I just single crocheted all the way down to the end. So let's do all your measurements, and then meet me back here and we will sew her up. Okay, so did you get all your markings? Now, what I should have said, and I'm sorry about that, this is my fault, my bad. After you're done marking, this is where I want my work to start. I am actually going to move this over just one so it's not in my way here. So that's where I wanted my work to start in this one right here, right next to it. Now, if you remember, we did these pull-up rows, and then we did a row of single crochet back, a pull-up row, a row of single crochet back, pull-up, single crochet, pull-up, single crochet. So we ended with single crochet. So we do have some nice single crochets to work into right here. Gotta get my eyes and my hands to cooperate on this. You know how that goes, right? So what we're gonna do is start our yarn. Remember, this is our neck opening right here. This is closest to the neck, and this is all the way to where the arm is, the shoulder arm, whatever. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to think right now. Don't make me think. Okay, so we're gonna start our yarn right here. So we're gonna chain one, squish that sucker right down into there, and we're gonna go right back into this same stitch, 2 stitches. You're gonna get the front of the shoulder seam and the back of the shoulder seam, and you're gonna single crochet just like that. Go to our next stitch, the front stitch, the back stitch, single crochet. Go to our next stitch, the front stitch, the back stitch, and you're going through both loops, guys, okay? So go through both loops. This is going to give you a nice edge, and it's going to give it a little bit of sturdy feeling top, because this is so kind of lacy, and I wanted it to feel like it had substance to it. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's why I chose to work it all in single crochet. I thought that is going to be one of the best ways to make this piece just nice and sturdy, and just nice and sturdy. What I want you to do is continue working single crochets, the front one and the back, all the way down. We started here. You're going to work your single crochets all the way down to here. If for some reason you have a mismatched single crochet or something, don't worry about it. Just stick it in there somewhere. Just stick the single crochet. If you have, it didn't happen to me on the other piece, but if for some reason you come to the last couple and you have one more single crochet in the back part and you were on your last single crochet on your front part, just stick your hook right back into the same single crochet you worked on this side, and then put it into the leftover single crochet here and work it. It'll be absolutely fine. That's how you fudge things when you're doing handmade like that. So don't fret if that happens, okay? So meet me here after you're done single crocheting your shoulder, okay guys? I'll see you in just a couple minutes. Haha. Perfect. I am able to show you exactly what I mean. And remember what I was just saying, that if there's one extra stitch and you start panicking, don't think you have to frog it all out and start all over again. I want to show you, and I hope you can see this. On my front piece here, I have 2 stitches left. Can you see these? 1 and 2. But on my back piece here, I ended up with just 1 left. Remember, I'm doing this by measuring, not by the stitch count. Okay, so what I first did is I stuck my hand in my neck and I checked to make sure I didn't have any gaping holes on my seam or anything like that. Did I miss, anywhere? It doesn't look like I missed anywhere. And I also don't see where it's bunched up anywhere, like I didn't put 3 stitches in one stitch or anything like that. So that looks fine. There's nothing wrong with this. So what I plan on doing, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do, is I have 2 stitches here. So I'm going to put my hook into this first front stitch right here. And I'm going to go back to this back stitch, and I'm going to actually go 1 stitch where it should go. Even though I've worked it already, I'm just going to stick my hook right back in that stitch, and I'm going to make a single crochet right there. And then I'm going to go into my last stitch here on the edge, hopefully. And then I'm going to go into this stitch right here, which is the last stitch on the back side. And I'm going to make my single crochet just like that. Absolutely fine. No one is going to know but you. Do not tell on yourself. No one's going to come up and count your stitches on both sides and go, oh, it looks like you messed up a little bit. No one's going to know. You're going to rock this and you're going to say, I did this. I made this. It's beautiful. And there isn't anything wrong with it. You are going to just do it. Do it. Do it. Don't be afraid. Okay, guys? Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. So now I'm done. And if you guys are done also, chain stitch, snug it up a little bit, grab your scissors or snips, give yourself a 5 or so inch tail. Sorry, I wasn't in focus. Snip that away and finish pulling. This yarn is a little sticky. Pull it through. Ta-da, ta-da! The shoulder is seamed up. Now go ahead and go do your other shoulder, okay? And I'll meet you right back here and we will start on the side. See you in a minute, guys. Okay, did you finish up your shoulders? Are they nice? How do they look? Does it feel nice? Did you put it on you to see how it felt and see how it fit and everything? I know I did. And mine was perfect. 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 Okay, so we're going to start working on the sides. I want to show you the side that I already completed. We're doing it the same exact way. What I wanted to show you is I finished this side because, like I said, I'm just winging this. And I wanted to show you something. I'm going to point out a couple of my flaws only because if for some reason you did like I did and you have a couple of rows that are a little wonky, like this row here, you see that? I messed that up. I mean, I'll be honest with you. But am I going to pull it apart and fix it? No. Am I going to start over? No, I'm not, because the majority of the people are not going to notice. And this is my back piece anyway. So that's why I opted for this to go in the back, because I kind of messed it up a little bit. This was a learning process for me. And when I use this stitch again, I do have plans on using this stitch again in a couple of different ways. I already have it in my head what I want to do. But I know now when I did the front panel, as you can see, the front panel looks pretty darn good. It's like I got it, if that makes any sense. This one here, I don't know what I was doing. I don't know if I was just being lazy and getting tired and just making bigger stitches. Just don't do that. But I wanted to show you, like, I was lining up everything, and when I pinched it together, if you see, all the rows kind of line up pretty well. See? You can see this all seems to pretty much line up. They mesh together pretty well. But when I got especially down here with this, that I have no idea why I did that, but as you see, I had to put these 2 rows basically into here. I made sure I lined up these, like where the single crochets were. I lined these up pretty well. And if, like this one here, 2 fit into the same spaces, this, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you. And I just went with it. So what I did here is I just added a couple more stitches in here to make it work. You know, like I said, just make it work. It looks fine. I don't think anybody's going to notice any major difference, you know. Maybe someone will. I don't care. You know, this is mine. I did this. I'm proud of it. I'm happy with it. And I know you guys will be too. So we are going to do the same thing. We already have our shoulder piece all sewed up. You should have your stitches, you should have your stitch markers or your yarn or wherever tied off where you want your opening of your sleeve to end or begin, if that makes sense, because we're going to start at this part here, and then we're going to sew our way, single crochet our way all the way down to this end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take out all but one. I'm going to leave the one in, and we're working along the side here. Right here, can you see? This is where our single crochets were made in between these drop stitch type things, or drop stitch. So I'm going to actually start my yarn in this single crochet hole, because that'll give me some stability. So let me find the other side, and I'm going to find that single crochet hole, and that's where I'm going to start my yarn, right there. And this is probably what I found to be the best way to do it. Let me get some yarn here. Okay, so let's start our yarn in that single crochet. It looks like I got a mess, and I do. I've got strings everywhere. I haven't hidden in my tails yet because I am going to be hiding my tails in this edge that we're making, because this is giving us, not only is it structurally making the structure of this stitch more sound, it's given us a wonderful place to hide the tails in and to weave them in and give make them nice and solid, something that they'll stay in and help, you know, everything stay together, of course, you know. So let's chain one. That chain doesn't count as anything. We're going right back into this single crochet, just like that. See how easy that went in? Both sides, pull up, make a single crochet, just like that. So what I basically did is, if you look at this lacy stitch, it literally does have kind of, you know how we were putting the single crochets in on the side there? You know how we pulled out two little loops like this? It basically does have an edge. See, there's an edge. There's the third stitch. This is like a, this is actually just like a single crochet right here, just kind of pulled up. But as you see, I can put my hook in there, and it looks just like you stuck your hook in a very puffed up single crochet, I guess you could say. So that's what I'm doing. That's how I'm doing it. So then I went on the other side and I did the same thing. I just went to the edge and I found two strands just like that. See, I have, let me show you. Can you see how I have, oh, this is hard to show. Can you see I have two strands there? Can you see that? So that's where I'm going to put this hook into. And I am going to make 2 single crochets per each one of these sides, because I'm just going to assume that's almost about the size of a double crochet. So on a double crochet, when you're going down the edge, you usually would put about 2 single crochets or 2 double crochets on the side to edge it. And then right here, here's that little, pull it apart, you can see it. There's your single crochet. That's your row of single crochets in there. Makes those cute little bump knots like that, but it also makes a perfect place to go match up your rows, row for row. And there's the other side, and I'm going to make a single crochet right there. So essentially we're going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 single crochet in this little single crochet hole area. I know that doesn't sound professional, and I'm sorry, I don't know how else to explain it, because like I said, this is not a stitch that I know of. So if you guys know of this stitch, has this been done before, or is this just something fun that I decided to kind of make up? And if it is something fun that I decided to kind of make up, well, can we name this stitch? Can we call it something? And if we can, tell me what we should call this. Besides me going, you pain in the butt, trying to figure it all out. So there's 2 single crochets in that one. Now I'm going to find my single crochet hole. If you're having a problem, just pull it. See, if I pull this apart a little bit, there's the hole right there. It's just hiding a little bit, but you just pull it apart. You'll find the hole. Stick that right there. Go to that one. Single crochet. So you'll find that little single crochet right there. You just got to pull it apart a little bit, fiddle with it, maybe a little tiny bit. So let me go into this next one. It's a little easier when you're not on camera and I'm not trying to make sure that I'm showing you guys the right way. It's when I was doing it last night, it went pretty nice and smooth. It didn't take so long, but I'm not holding this up to me and seeing what I'm doing as well. So it has been raining like crazy here because of the hurricane that hit. I'm glad that it wasn't too bad, but I know that there was a lot of flooding in the Panhandle, and there's some flood warnings because we're getting saturated here in this county. I am a little bit south of Cedar Key. Well, yeah, I'm south of Cedar Key, so we don't get flooded too badly, but it's just been soggy. And you get a teeny bit of sunshine and then nope, no more. Back to rain. So let me find, this is where I joined some yarn. So I got a little bit of a mess right here. And if you have a mess like I do, find your best single crochet, stick it in there, and single crochet. Don't worry about it. We can fix this. This is all gonna I'll tuck that in afterwards. That was just, a mess. I knew that was gonna be a mess when I did it. This right here. There we go. I'm going to put another one. Now this here is my mess when I attached, and I will be cleaning this all up when I'm done. I'll be hiding this all in these single crochets here. I'll weave it all in and it'll be nice. That's just a mess right now that I'm working over. Happens a lot, I don't know. Do you guys get that a lot? Where it's just like you come to an edge where you had a tie off and you're like, oh, what a mess. Oh, I'm going to go in this single crochet. I'm going to find that one right there. Put my hook in there and single crochet. Basically, you want to make sure that your stitches aren't too stretched. You know, they're not too stretched out. They look like they're fairly normal size. And you don't want it too bunched up either. So I'm going to go and finish this now. You see, I worked over that mess, and that was my mess. I'm going to continue all the way down. You line your stuff up like this. Hold it out. Put in your single crochets. When you get to the bottom, if you need to fudge it a little bit, fudge it. When you get to the bottom, I'll meet you right back here because we got to put a single crochet in this mess way down here too, okay? So I'll meet you here in just a minute and I'll help you out to help you find everything, okay? Okay, guys, so I said I'd be right back and I will show you where to put this kind of like last stitch to just, you know, get this as right as it's going to be. That's how I always put it. Anytime I've made tops, I've always had a little bit of wonkiness, especially because like at the starting chain, unless you work only in the back bumps, you don't have perfect chain stitches to work into. So I like to find the best looking chain stitch area. Like this one right here to me looks better than this little edge right here. So I don't know, maybe I do it wrong, but I will put it in there. And then I go to this back piece here. Here we have this. This is our starting chain on this side. I'm going to go to this one here, and I'm going to put my hook in there. And I am going to single crochet right there. All this will clean up just fine when we hide our tails in and weave our tails in. So that was the last stitch. Chain 1, snug it down a little bit. Try to get that close to the work as possible. There we go. I am going to leave a nice tail to weave in. And we're going to pull this baby through if it wants to. This yarn here is not really smooth, believe it or not. Well, I guess you could tell. So that is my side all sewn up. I want you to go ahead and complete your other side. Do just like you did, line it up, hold it taut. If you have to, put some stitch markers in. Like, you could put a stitch marker in this last, that last little one I worked. You can stick a stitch marker on both of them like that, or a piece of yarn or whatever and tie it. Help keep it together here, and then as you're working down, just kind of, make sure everything's looking good and everything's lining up pretty good. If it doesn't perfectly line up row for row, like mine's not going to in certain places because I wonkied up the stitch a little bit here and there, it's fine. Don't panic. Just work with it. There's not going to be, this is on the side of your body anyway. There's not going to be a lot of people who are going to notice this, honestly. I think that's where everybody gets nervous about making garments is, oh, well, what if it's not perfect? Go look in the store. Go pick up a t-shirt in a store and look at the seams. Sometimes they look awful terrible. I have never gotten a shirt that was 100% completely perfect, perfectly seamed, perfectly anything. So just remember that when you're making your garment. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't get crazy. You can do this. This is fine. This is going to be beautiful. Once you're wearing it, it's going to be gorgeous. So you can do this, okay? So I'll meet you back here when you are done, and then we're going to put some single crochet around the sleeves. So how did that go? You get your sides done? They look pretty good? Are you happy with it? I'm happy with mine. I am absolutely tickled pink about mine, and that's 100% true. So the last thing we're going to do besides hiding in our tails is we are going to put a round of single crochets around each sleeve. I did this one already. The only reason I'm doing this is because this is the side that I did already. I did this last night to see how it would work and see how it would look. I didn't want to change the structure of this too much. I don't want to add a ton of single crochets or anything like that. The most I would want to do if I wanted to is make the sleeve a little bit longer. Like if I didn't want capped type sleeves, if I wanted like maybe a sleeve that went down to maybe like right here or something, that would be kind of cool too. So I would just continue this pattern on like this, maybe making a couple of decreases, and that's an idea. Note to self, guys. Okay, so the reason why I did it is because the edging is once again just like here. There's just, what I worried about was like if you caught something right here and it pulled, it pulled out, it might make your stitches look a little bit wonky. So I thought the best way to do it is to clean it up with one round of single crochet that gives it a little bit of stability, just like, that's the reason why I wanted to use single crochet to stitch up the sides and stitch up the shoulder seams. So I already did this side. Let me work with you on this side and show you exactly how to do this. Let's do these sleeves. And once you have both sleeves done, guess what? Besides hiding in all these tails, you are done. We are completed. Yeehaw! How's that? Okay, on the other one, this is exactly where I started. This made it easy. Remember how when we were doing the edge, when we were sewing up the edge, we started in one of these little single crochet holes, whatever you want to call it, how they made these right here. So I just went into right here. I put my hook in there. That's the perfect place, I thought, to start my yarn. It's a nice sturdy area to start the yarn. Make sure you leave a 5-inch or so tail for weaving. So right there, I want you to chain 1, snug that down, if it will for me. I want you to go right back into that same opening, go right back in there, just like we've been doing, and make your single crochet. When we chained 1, that just attached your yarn. That's all it did. So that's all we were doing. So we are going to work around the sleeve basically the same way we sewed up the edge, in a sense, the same technique. So we're going to find, let me get this is the starting chain, let me get that out of the way, the starting yarn. So we're going to find 2, see there? I stuck my thumb right in there, can you see that? We're going to find 2 strands. This is basically a stitch because this is just a pulled up single crochet. We're going to put the hook in there, and I am going to work 2 single crochets in this stitch, and then here's where we get to the single crochet right here where we made our little cute knots, and I am going to work a single crochet right inside there. Find 2 more strands up here. We're going to go and do 2 more, 1 and 2 single crochets, and I'm going to put a single crochet in that single crochet spot right there. 2 single crochets right here, 1 and 2, and a single crochet right here. So what I want you to do is continue to go all the way around your sleeve here. I will meet you, I want you to keep going, and I will meet you where your shoulder seam is attached, and I'll show you what we'll do there. And I'll be right back, and I'll show you what we're going to do right there. Here we have, right here we have where our single crochet, the last row of the single crochets at the top of our work, right? And then we have our row of single crochets here, and then here is, on this side will be where the back piece matches up, and this is the last row of single crochets that we did on these panels, right? So what I am going to do, what I did is I entered into that single crochet on the top, and I pulled up a loop, and then I went in basically right here into this same single crochet that is the seam of the shoulder. See there, right there? See that right there? I just stuck my hook in there. I found a spot and I pulled up a loop, and I have 3 loops on my hook. So we're single crocheting 2 stitches together, and I made 2 of them together into one. Kind of cleans it up a little bit there. And then I did the same over here. I stuck my hook into that single crochet here, pulled up a loop, and then I went into this first pulled up stitch, found my 2 strings or my loop, pulled up a loop, and all 3, and we have, basically we took 4 messy looking type stitches and just made them into 2. So that's what I'm going to have you do. So go ahead and do that, and then continue working. So you'll just put 1 more stitch right here, just like that, and then continue working like we were before. Put a single crochet right there, and then 2 single crochets in this stitch, 1 and 2, and we're going to continue all the way until we get to this last. I want you to put one single crochet in this last little stitch, and then I'll show you what we're going to do to finish this up. And I am back. Let's do this last little bit right here. Here is our first stitch that we started right here at the armpit, at the sleeve, at the armpit sleeve. The armpit sleeve? Yeah, armpit sleeve. Okay, so I have 2 more here, but what I'm going to do is, let me get my strands separated. I didn't do that ahead of time. Goodness. Okay, so I'm going to work 1 single crochet right here, and then I'm going to do a single crochet decrease, just like we did at the shoulder, the top of the shoulder. So let's place our hook in, pull up a loop and stop. And I want to go right here where this single crochet is. You see that little hole right there? Let's stick our hook in there, pull it up. Now we're going to pull through all 3 just like that. A nice single crochet decrease, cinch it up a little, bring it in together. Now I am simply going to bypass all this. I am going to put my hook into that very first single crochet we started this with, and we're going to slip stitch. Pull through and pull through that loop and cinch it all down nicely. See, that's fine. Chain 1, cinch down your knot nice and snug. Leave yourself about a 5-inch tail. I always leave too much. I am really bad with that. I always have like long strings everywhere. But you know what? I can hide these in, and if I still have too much string, I can clip it. If I don't have enough string, then it's a pain to try to hide your tails in. I'd rather have too much and have to hide a little bit more. Plus, it feels like it makes it a little sturdier. Okay, guess what? So now we are done, except for hiding in our tails. And you know what? I got a bajillion tails to hide in. I don't know about you guys, but I've got quite a few. So what we're going to do is get your darning needle, start your yarn, thread your darning needle, doop, and let's weave in these ends. Let's get ready to weave. So I'm going to go probably back here, and I'm going to pull through this stitch. And then I'm going to go over here and pick me up some of this single crochet stuff over here. I want these, this yarn nice and snug in here, It's just very lacy, so finding a place to hide these and to make sure that we have a little bit of good catch to these, especially where you started your yarn. You want, like, this here is a yarn start going around the sleeve here. So I want to make sure I really weave that in nice and get it in there nice and tight and go back and forth maybe 3 times, down and then go up another stitch and then go up and then go up another stitch and go down like this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I found a couple of spots here and I went down. So now I'm going to move over a little bit and go into here. So we're almost like knotting without making knots, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to go back up. And now I'm going to go down through here. Let's get our hook in here. Let's find some little knotty areas right here that we can stick this. See, right along here, can you see that? How I'm just kind of sticking this right along some of these single crochets here. And I'm going to pull it down. And then I'm not going to go from where it came out of. I'm going to go like next to it. And I'm going to go back up. And then I am going to do the same thing. I'm not going to go back into this where I just came out of. I'm going to like bring it right here. And I'm going to go back down just like that. Now that's not going to go anywhere. It's good. I'm happy with it. I'm satisfied. Pull up your yarn a teeny little bit. Cut close, but don't cut your stitches. And one done. Now 1,555,289.35 left to go. So I will see you guys in just a little bit after all these tails are weaved in. You guys get busy weaving in your tails too. See you in a few. Well, I'll see you in like a minute with all my tails worked in. And I'll guarantee you it'll be about 30-35 minutes before I'm back. See you in a minute. This is the shirt. She's finally done. I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys will make it. If you make this shirt, please post some pictures on my Facebook group. Please also tag me on Instagram because I would love to see it. And let's see, what else? And I thought you definitely have to wear something under this, but you almost may be able to get away with. I made my collar a little bit looser. I wanted it more summery, relaxed, sit back, kick back, beachy style. You know what I mean, guys? This is what I wanted. What do you think? Yay, she's finally done. I know. Now let me back up. Can you see me? Hi. See? Not too bad. Not too bad. And pose. And pose. So I hope you guys will think about making this. I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments section. Are you going to make it? Tag me on Instagram or plus, tag me on Instagram and post it on my Facebook group. I leave all the links to that in my description box below. Let's see, what else? I feel like I'm missing something, but I want to say thank you guys so much for being so patient with me and hanging out with me. You guys are a blessing in my life, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. I won't be here. I won't be doing a regular podcast until next Friday, the September 25th. I will have a regular podcast up for you guys. I also have a couple of things coming up. I have a couple of unboxings to do, a Yarn of the Month Club unboxings. So I hope that I'll see you guys really, really soon. Oh, this lighting is terrible. Sorry, guys. It's late, so I wanted to get this up. I wanted to get this on here for you guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I love you guys. Take care, all right? And I'll be seeing you guys really, really soon. Bye!